Welcome to LinesToGo installation videos. Today we will be replacing fuel lines on a 1982 Jeep J10 using LinesToGo part number SS1700. While this particular installation is being performed on a 1982 Jeep J10, this set of lines will also fit the following year, make, and models as shown on your screen now. LinesToGo lines are made using original equipment end forms and fittings that are CNC bent for an easy and precise installation. We have also upgraded to stainless steel braided Teflon hoses for rust protection and to prevent surface fouling. These have an unlimited shelf life and anti-static PTFE liner. This set of LinesToGo lines are made using 304L stainless steel for rust resistance that exceeds OEM standards. Tech tip: disconnect the battery before working on a vehicle to reduce the risk of shorting out the battery on tools or lines. LinesToGo lines are made with a sectional design for easier installation. We also use color-coded unions on our sectioned lines. Just match the colors at the connections. Make sure to depressurize the fuel system before starting the installation. Tools required: 3/8, 1/2 inch and 9/16 socket and ratchet, 3/8 and 1/2 inch wrenches, pliers and cutting pliers, flat blade screwdriver, drain pan, jack and jack stands. The level of difficulty for this installation is considered to be medium. To depressurize the fuel system, locate the fuel pump fuse using your owner's manual and remove it. Start the vehicle and wait for the engine to stall. Make sure to replace the fuse once completed. Start by disconnecting the negative battery terminal using a 1/2 inch wrench. On the passenger side of the engine, remove the middle vapor hose from the vapor canister located behind the battery. Use a 1/2 inch socket to remove the bolts and brackets along the driver's side frame that secure the rear brake line and fuel lines. Remove the electrical connector from the proportioning valve. At the front of the fuel tank, use a flat blade screwdriver to loosen the clamps that secure the supply and return line hose connections and disconnect them. We will next remove the fuel tank to access the vapor line connection at the rear of the tank. You may be able to access this connection without the removal of the fuel tank. Loosen the clamps that secure the 2 large fuel filler hoses to the tank and disconnect them. Place a support underneath the fuel tank. Use a 9/16 of an inch socket to remove the bolts that secure the shield and fuel tank straps. Start to lower the fuel tank. Once the tank is low enough, use a flat blade screwdriver to loosen the clamp at the vent hose and disconnect it from the vent tube. Continue to lower the fuel tank until you can reach the top of the sending unit. Disconnect the 2 wires from the top of the sending unit. Continue to remove the fuel tank from underneath the vehicle. Use a pair of cutting pliers to cut the 2 hoses that connect the front and rear sections of fuel lines on the driver's side of the frame. Have a drain pan ready as some fuel will still be in the lines. Remove the rear section of the supply and return lines from the vehicle. Underneath the driver's side of the engine, disconnect the supply and return line hose connections using a flat blade screwdriver. Remove the forward section of the supply and return lines from the vehicle. Use a pair of cutting pliers to cut the hose that connects the front and rear sections of the vapor line. Use a 1/2 inch socket and wrench to remove the bolt that secures the vapor line at the front of the box and remove the clamp from the line. Use a 1/2 inch socket to remove the clamp at the rear of the vapor line and remove the clamp. Remove the rear section of the fuel vapor line from the vehicle. Remove the vent hose from the top of the transfer case. Use a 3/8 socket to remove the bolt that secures the fuel and transfer case vent tubes to the transfer case. Use a 3/8 wrench to remove the bolt that secures the two lines at the front of the transmission bell housing. Remove the two forward lines from the vehicle. Remove the metal clips that secure the lines together. To begin the installation of your new LinesToGo stainless steel fuel lines, start by installing the rear section of the fuel vapor line labeled VL1700B into position. Secure the line into position with the metal clips using a 1/2-inch socket and wrench. Next, install the forward section of the LinesToGo fuel vapor line labeled VL1700A into position, routing the front hose above the passenger side of the engine. Connect the front hose to the vapor canister and secure the clamp using a pair of pliers. Replace the clamps that secure the line using a 3/8 of an inch socket or wrench. Connect the front and rear sections of the fuel vapor line using the supplied hose, noting the LinesToGo color-coded connection, and secure the clamps. Next, install the LinesToGo transfer case vent line labeled TCVL1700A into position. Secure the transfer case vent line to the fuel vapor line using the metal clips removed from the original lines. Connect the hose at the transfer case and secure the clamp using a flat blade screwdriver. Next, install the rear section of the LinesToGo supply and return lines labeled SL1700B and RL1700B into position. Replace the clips that secure the rear lines to the frame rail using a 1/2-inch socket, leaving the clamp at the crossmember off for now. Next, install the forward section of the LinesToGo supply line labeled SL1700A into position. Next, install the forward section of the LinesToGo return line labeled RL1700A into position. Connect the front and rear section of the supply and return lines using the supplied hoses, noting the LinesToGo color-coded connections. Secure the clamps using a flat blade screwdriver. Replace the clamps that secure the front fuel lines using a 1/2-inch socket. Replace the metal clips that secured the original lines together. Connect the hose connections at the front of the vehicle to the lines and secure the clips using a flat blade screwdriver. If there is any confusion, the hose that connects to the mechanical fuel pump on the driver's side of the engine will connect to the supply line. Replace the electrical connector at the proportioning valve. Replace the fuel tank underneath the vehicle and connect the electrical connectors at the sending unit. Continue to raise the fuel tank into position. Once the tank is high enough, connect the vapor line connection and secure the clamp. Continue to raise the tank into position. Secure the fuel tank straps using a 9/16 of an inch socket. Connect the two fuel filler tubes and secure the clamps using a flat blade screwdriver. Connect the supply and return line hose connections and secure the clamps using a flat blade screwdriver. Replace the clamp that secures the return line to the crossmember and secure it using a 1/2-inch socket. Reconnect the negative battery terminal using a 1/2-inch wrench. This concludes the installation of stainless steel fuel lines on a 1982 Jeep J10 using LinesToGo part number SS1700. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or would like to purchase the lines you saw today, please call us at 1-855-781-5992. Email us at info@linestogo.com or check out our website link below. Don't forget to take advantage of our free next day shipping. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button below, and we will see you in our next video.